Coachella smoke visible from across the Coachella Valley, and evacuations are in effect tonight. We'll have the latest details right ahead.
And with the latest conditions in Coachella, as well as cooler conditions as we head into the weekend, well, more in that full forecast coming up. NBC Palm Springs at 5 starts right now.
Now, this is NBC Palm Springs.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Olivia Sandusky.
I'm Mark Mester. We start tonight with breaking news as a fire is currently burning right now in the eastern portion of the Coachella Valley. Evacuation orders are in effect, and it's also impacting air quality for residents. It's called the Shady Fire, and it's tonight's top story. These are live pictures from the scene. Our photographer is standing at Avenue 54, very close to Cesar Chavez. You could see the scene right there. We have dark, billowing smoke heading into the skies here in the Coachella Valley. Do believe that a lot of date palm trees are currently on fire. Officials tell us it's burning at a slow rate of speed. At least 30 acres have burned, according to CAL FIRE. Structures are threatened right now on the south end of the blaze, and evacuation orders are also in effect. Also being told that a water-dropping helicopter is assisting in the fight. We've got Cathedral City, Palm Springs fire, both on the scene as well. And as you can see with these live pictures right now, this fire is burning out of control. There's a sheriff's squad car that just drove by our live images, as well as you could see that CAL FIRE vehicle there at the left side of your screen. But dark smoke billowing into the sky, and you can see it's going to be a busy evening for officials that are currently on the scene right there.
We had calls into our newsroom from drivers on the 10 freeway asking how close is this? Will this impact our commute? Saying some drivers were slowing down a bit to look at the smoke, so be careful out on the roads. And it's been a hectic past 2 hours in the area. This is some footage from earlier. A horse was loose, ran away from the property to get away from the flames. We're told neighbors were able to help get the horse back to where it needed to go safely. So again, just a situation that's developing there in the city of Coachella. We'll continue to bring you updates throughout the newscast and at 6 o'clock tonight, as well as on our website, NBCPalmSprings.com. But let's go ahead and take another live look. This time, we're looking at the Agua Caliente Casino camera in Rancho Mirage. Of course, when we have a vegetation fire like that and a lot of dry fuel, the next question is, what will the wind look like this evening to push it along even further? And as we can see with this camera, blowing already.
Not good. Yeah, I hate to sound like a broken record, but when we talk about these fires, a huge concern is the lack of moisture that we've seen this year. So it's very dry vegetation, dry fuel, as you mentioned, and then we see those winds upticking tonight. That's going to be an issue because they're going to be peaking this evening. Here's a look again at that map, just again painting the picture of the area that this is in, just to the east of Shady there, Shady Lane. Very dry vegetation in that area. So if you're familiar with Coachella, just looking at this field, like I said, we have not seen a lot of moisture this year. So once it gets started, it's going to spread really quickly. And that's a concern going into today, right? Because we talked about those winds being really gusty and actually peaking for our Friday evening. So while we're getting cooler conditions, we are expecting those winds to be peaking this evening. So current conditions in Coachella at this hour, right at 100 degrees. And look at those winds, sustained winds, 23 miles per hour from the northwest direction. So that means those gusts are in the 30s for that area. So we'll keep our eye on Coachella as that fire continues for that area. As far as wind gusts across the region, and take a look at Palm Springs, 41 mile per hour wind gusts at this hour. Onshore flow, again, that low pressure system center that we're tracking that's bringing those gusty winds is moving its way closer to Southern California. So the center of the system will stay to the north of us as it moves inland, but keep in mind as it's inching closer tonight, we expect those winds to continue to pick up. So as we get into tomorrow, again, winds will weaken a little bit, gusty for some areas for those wind-prone areas. We'll actually see Saturday as one of the cooler days for us for the next 7 days. So 102 to 106 below average conditions for our Saturday. Here's a look at your Complete Air 3-day forecast. 103 Saturday, 106 Sunday. A warming trend on the way for next week, taking us above 110 degrees at some point early next week. We'll break down what you can expect in that full forecast coming up.
Chloe, thank you. We have more local news tonight. A car flips onto its roof after a crash in Rancho Mirage this afternoon. Some video from the intersection of Bob Hope Drive and Highway 111. This happened just around 11:15 this afternoon. We know one person was taken to the local hospital, said to be in stable condition. Several first responders were on scene and blocked portions of Highway 111 off as they were trying to clear some of the debris. The truck you see right there on your screen was also involved in this crash. No arrests were made. Officials telling us they are still investigating the cause.
Looking at a celebration that happened in Indio this afternoon as the city held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for Indio Brewing. The new brewery is on Avenue 42, first of its kind in Indio. Local officials are excited to welcome it to the downtown area. The celebration now continues on tonight and into this weekend.
The Morongo Band of Mission Indians sponsored their first ever spay and neuter clinic. Animal Action League performing more than 30 surgeries this week, making a significant step toward addressing pet overpopulation and promoting animal welfare on the Morongo Reservation. The tribe's leadership recognizing the critical need for accessible veterinary care for tribal members and their pets. Tribal Council hopes to expand this program to the broader public in the near future.
New speed limit signs are out at Cathedral City tonight as those changes went into effect this morning. We have a look tonight at Date Palm Drive between Vista Chino and 30th. The city is decreasing the speeds on multiple main streets. Changes come after a traffic survey was conducted by the city to make sure speed limits reflect current road conditions, traffic patterns, and public safety needs. For a full list of the speed changes, you can head to our website. That's NBCPalmSprings.com.
And we're tracking some projects that are coming up next week and beyond. If you're in the city of La Quinta, the Highway 111 Pavement Rehabilitation Project starting next week, Wednesday, July 30th. The intersection at Washington Street will be closed. Nearby lanes will be open, but for business traffic access only, so plan accordingly. And our Know Before You Go traffic expert Chris Gunderson wants to remind you that if you sign up for alerts by going to the website on your screen, you can be prepared for all of that work going on across the valley. Head to lqhighway111.com.
All right, tonight it would be the first of its kind in Riverside County. Tonight, we're going to tell you about a local actress and how she's working to open up a mental health recovery center in the city of Palm Springs. Let's go to Brett Rosen, joins us live tonight from Palm Springs with the very latest on this story. Brett?
Mark, as you can see right behind me, I'm in front of the Desert Sun building. However, Hollywood actress Machen Amick hopes that one day this building would become a beacon of light for those who've lost hope.
I was a mean Alice on Riverdale.
No.
I was a mean mom.
Actress Machen Amick, to one generation, is known as Shelley Johnson from the television series Twin Peaks. Another generation knows her as Alice Cooper from Riverdale. However, now she wants to be known as someone who helps those struggling with mental illness and substance abuse. Amick's son, Sylvester Alexis, struggled with substance abuse and was diagnosed with bipolar disorder after he witnessed the death of a schoolmate back in 2011. 10 years later, in 2021, Amick and her family founded Don't Mind Me, a mental health nonprofit. Amick says it was a mix of seeing her son struggle and seeing how little resources there were in the valley that pushed for the creation of Don't Mind Me.
What the Valley is really known for is substance use disorder support. So what we were finding is very few opportunities to find crisis stabilization and not finding any primary mental health on a residential level.
Since 2021, Don't Mind Me has had a crisis intervention scholarship fund to help families who before couldn't afford treatment.
A lot of times treatment centers aren't even accepting insurance, or maybe your copay is extremely high. When we were looking for resources, we were getting quotes of $60,000, $90,000, $100,000 a month.
Today, Don't Mind Me is looking to purchase the Desert Sun building in Palm Springs to have it become a comprehensive mental health treatment center. Don't Mind Me is based on the 3 pillars of advocacy, action, and access. Mina Tobias, co-founder of Don't Mind Me and sister of Sylvester Alexis, says what a lot of people look over is the mental illness aspect of trying to recover from substance abuse.
For a lot of people, they go through sober rehabs, they try to work their sobriety, but when you have an underlying mental health issue that's not being treated, then you're not treating your sobriety as well.
Tobias says seeing her brother go through his struggles has given a blueprint to how to help others.
We just found one of the best ways for long-term results is to give back, to be a part of a community, and to know that you're not alone.
Now today, Amick's son is helping others also dealing with mental health illness and substance abuse problems by telling his story. And another thing that AMIC had also told me is that the hope is that this building would become that mental health recovery center by the end of 2026. So if you'd like to know how you could donate towards that cause, you can go to our website, NBCPalmSprings.com, for more information. Live here in Palm Springs, I'm Brett Rosen, NBC Palm Springs.
Thank you for that report tonight, Brett. Coming up next year on NBC Palm Springs, a homeless population count aims to gauge what resources are needed. We'll have the latest from experts about the increase in population size for Riverside County.
Also tonight, we have another live look at what's been called the Shady Fire. It started in Coachella at Shady Lane and Avenue 54 just before 3 o'clock this afternoon. Officials at CAL FIRE telling us this is a vegetation fire. You could see that dark black smoke billowing into the Coachella Valley sky. At least 30 acres have burned. We'll have much more on the evacuation orders that are in effect and the latest on the firefight. That's right after this break.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Committed to covering our community. You're watching NBC Palm Springs at 5.
A recent count of homeless populations has shown changing statistics for most of Southern California counties.
While Los Angeles County saw a drop, the unhoused population actually went up in Riverside County. Our Mary Strong tonight, speaking with an expert to learn more.
This year's homelessness count in Southern California offers some good news and some not so good news. Riverside County saw an increase in unhoused individuals, but a drop in unsheltered people, meaning more people overall became homeless, but more of them were housed in shelters, which reduced the number of people visibly living outside. Meanwhile, Los Angeles County reported a slight decrease in homelessness, but there's a caveat. In Los Angeles, thousands of people who are couch surfing, in rehab, in jail, or living in motels are not counted. But in Riverside County, those same populations are counted, painting a more complete and in some ways more alarming picture. Joining us today is Victoria Stinson, Executive Director of Victory Starts Now, an organization working with the region's most vulnerable population. Thank you so much for being here with us, Victoria.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
What an interesting assessment from both counties. Why do LA and Riverside counties count homelessness so differently?
So each county uses its own method to count people experiencing homelessness. And Los Angeles is huge, so the amount of resources they have are much bigger. They use volunteers, outreach workers, and even data modeling. to count the homeless, whereas Riverside is much smaller and may count more directly, which impacts who they actually count. The rules from the federal government on what is considered homeless are the same, but how each place applies them can vary. And that's how we get into situations where the numbers don't always match across counties.
So can you explain why someone living in a motel or possibly rehab facility might be counted in one county but not in another?
So again, that's usually a situation with how they're interpreting what the federal government is saying. Because technically, if someone is in rehab, they may still be counted as homelessness if they don't have stable housing to go back to after.
That was our Mary Strong reporting this evening. To watch that full interview, you can go to our website for that. Let's take a live look outside our Indian Wells Golf Resort camera. We're back to the Shady Fire, our coverage of the fire burning in Coachella right after the break, plus a check of your 7-day forecast. That's in a few minutes. Stay with us.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating, and we couldn't agree more.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We wanted to provide some updates on what's called the Shady Fire. It's burning in Coachella tonight. It broke out around 3 o'clock this afternoon at Shady Lane and Avenue 54. We have live pictures tonight. This is Avenue 54, very close to Cesar Chavez. You could see the dark smoke that's billowing into the sky. Officials tell us a lot of date palm trees are on fire. We wanted to let you know about some evacuation orders that are in effect right now. North of Airport, south of Avenue 52, east of Van Buren, and also west of Highway 11. You could see fire still very active right now, about 30 acres in size. We're going to send things over to Chloe Carlson. Chloe, always look to the direction of that smoke plume to see how the wind is behaving.
Yeah,
what's it telling you right now?
Yeah, speaking of the 111, here's a live look at the Walter Clark Highway 11 cam in Rancho Mirage. You can actually see that smoke in the distance there near that Shady Fire. Let's take a look at those conditions again for Coachella. 103 there at this hour. Winds have weakened just slightly, but these are very strong winds still this evening. We do expect them to be peaking for our Friday across the Coachella Valley. It's a little bit of a concern when we talk about a vegetation fire because those winds make those fires spread very quickly. As far as humidity, take a look at that, single-digit humidity. So we don't have a lot of good things working for us when we talk about those fires. Good news is winds will start to subside as we get into this weekend. As far as rainfall estimates, yeah, the monsoonal moisture that we got last week, that's staying. staying well to the east of us. So it's a little bit dry here, not expecting a lot of rainfall, which we could use here in Southern California. We've been under a pretty dry year. As far as relative humidity, we're going to stay pretty dry into the weekend, 5% as well for us here on the desert floor. So future wind, I mentioned this already, but definitely peaking for our Friday this evening. It's been picking up in the afternoon, evening hours. Such is the case as we get into the weekend as well, at least for the wind corridor there. So Whitewater, the San Antonio Pass there, winds will be 20 miles per hour, so those gusts will be in the 30s, and for some of those isolated areas in the 40s. As we get into Sunday and Monday, winds will weaken for the area. We'll call it breezy for Desert Hot Springs, north of the 10, calm winds south of the 10, and in Yucca Valley. So as far as the high today in Palm Springs, 103 for the high today, so slightly below average, a trend that we have seen for most of this week. Still triple digits here on the desert floor. Overnight tonight, low 70s here in the Coachella Valley. By next week, low pressure system center will be kind of staying to the north of us. We have this ridge of high building that will start to warm us back up. So we are forecasting above average conditions for next week. Here's a look at your company, our 7-day forecast. The coolest day for the next 7 days tomorrow, 103. We'll be warming up to 110 by next Wednesday.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating, and we couldn't agree more.
NBC Palm Springs Sports Desk. Brought to you by Agua Caliente Casinos. We have your game.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caitlin Kelly. Tim O'Brien has the night off. Well, it feels like just yesterday, the Shadow Hills varsity football team came heartbreakingly close to a CIF semifinal berth, just to see it slip away in a tough playoff loss to St. Anthony. But that playoff ending is now the fuel behind the team's fresh start. With the new season just a few short weeks away, the Knights are done looking in the rearview mirror and are full steam ahead into the 2025 season. With the first game of their season set for August 15th against Yucca Valley, the Knights have started practice and are hitting the field early. And by early, I mean 5:30 a.m. early. All, of course, to beat the heat. I stopped by that early practice this morning to catch up with head coach David Palmer to see how he's setting the tone for a redemption run this fall.
We're definitely younger this year than we were last year. We lost a lot of seniors, just probably like everybody else, but we got a lot of key players still back, so we look good. It's gonna take a little bit, but we'll be there. The team last year set the tone for the unity, so they're more as a unit, come together, from what they had experienced last year. So that's the building experience we're building on right now, which makes the big difference for us. Instead of everybody being individuals, now we're playing as a team for each other. We're taking the time, slow route of just this how it's got to be done, developing them since we're younger, taking our time, making sure, hey, this is, position keys, reads, everything, so that we were ready next year. Because we put a whole new offense last year. This year, it's kind of already set in stone. Kids already got an idea. But being that we're younger, sophomores coming up, freshmen definitely, we have a lot more of those. We're taking our time, making sure everybody knows their jobs before we get out on the field and let them loose.
As you heard Coach Palmer say, it's a young team this year with some new faces. But the culture and chemistry built by this team last year is setting the tone early. A lot more to come over the following weeks as we inch closer to kickoff, so stay tuned for that. That'll do it for sports. I'm Caitlin Kelly.
Caitlin, thank you. Some entertainment news tonight. We're turning to movie and streaming updates. Here's David Daniel with tonight's Hollywood Minute.
Houston, we have a problem.
Apollo 13 is returning for its 30th anniversary. The iconic film is set to screen exclusively in IMAX theaters September 19th through the 25th. It'll be the first time the full-length theatrical version has been shown in that format.
We all know that last year you did something cool. But honestly, I don't even remember what it was.
Percy Jackson news. Disney Plus unveiled this teaser at San Diego Comic-Con for Season 2 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians and announced the new season will premiere December 10th.
The thing that you guys had as kids, is that still there?
I'm in a band that constantly is breaking apart and coming back together.
But the more we retreat into the music, the nicer things become. Not to be profound or anything, and it would be a first time for me.
The first trailer is out for Spinal Tap 2: The End Continues. The mockumentary sequel arrives in theaters September 12th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating, and we couldn't agree more.
All right, finally tonight, it is National Wine and Cheese Day. Pairing wine and cheese is a tradition centuries old. For foodies, it's the enjoyment of matching flavors and textures of many cheese varieties with just the right selection of wine. You can mark today by trying a combination of wine and cheese you've never had before, or if you want, you could host a pairing party. It's up to you.
Sounds like fun. Or maybe head to, I'm trying to think of a few, Lafay Wine Bar maybe for a glass of wine in Palm Desert. There's a ton of local places, I'm sure, that are celebrating this.
Wine Lounge in downtown Palm Springs. That one's new.
Guess we've
Pretty
got
nice.
plans
There you
tonight.
go, right? One place to go.
All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Nightly News is next, and we're back here at 6 with the latest local headlines. We'll see you then.
Mic check. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Oh, you're doing well.